The people love you, Darrow. You can't abuse that love. Whatever you do, you set an example. So if you don't follow the law, why should the imperators, our governors, why should anyone else? Iron Gold, released in 2018, is the fourth installment in the Red Rising series. We pick up 10 years after the events of Morning Star, which is book three, and a lot has changed. A lot is different than what we have come to know in the first three books. We now have four POV characters. Obviously Darrow, Lysander, um, Ephraim, who is a silver, and no, sorry, a silver, a gold, a grey. Um, and then we also have, what's her name? We have a red. I totally forgot her name, which is a shame because Lyra. Let me see if this next chapter. No, that's Lysander. I can't believe Lyria. Lyria, who is a red. And I won't lie to you, what's crazy is that in my Morning Star review that I did on this channel, I said the initial trilogy would have been, it was great, and Pierce Brown maximized the just having one POV, just doing it as Darrow's voice. He maximized it as best as he could. But I did, think that having multiple POVs, Mustang, for example, Rogue, Cassius would have been just epic, right? And it's crazy now, you be careful what you wish for and all that good stuff. I do like the full POV characters. I actually think all the characters and all the POV chapters are strong. I like their stories. It took me a while to just get used to everyone. Just their backstories and Pierce Brown setting up the world. It reminded me a lot of Red Rising, where, for, a good part of the beginning of the book, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? What's up? And Pierce Brown, it's the same feeling in Iron Gold. But, and I think I said this in my Red Rising video, I actually considered DNFing it because I was just like, well, not DNFing it, but I was definitely getting frustrated. I was like, okay, all right. And I didn't quite get what was going on, post Darrow finding out about the world in between that and the Institute. Um, I was like, okay, I wasn't settled in the world in this, grav this and all that good stuff, right? And I kind of felt that again with Iron Gold. It was kind of strange, but this time, like obviously, I'm invested in the series, and I was like, okay, I'm powering through it. But I'd say for the first 2/5 of this book, and it's about 500 pages. Yeah, 500 and no 600 pages. But the first 2/5, I was like, okay, all right, I'm going along here. I'm seeing how this new world's playing out and whatnot. We got the Senate, we got Mustang still sovereign. You still got war with the Ash Lord, who is still about in well in Venus, but that came at a cost. Then you still got the other side of the galaxy, or the solar system, I should say, with Jupiter and Saturn, with the rim Dominion. So there's a lot going on, and we're kind of spread out, and I like that. It was good, but just the build up was a bit. The 3/5 and 4/5 of the way through, crazy. Loved it. Usual Pierce Brown madness, fast paced madness happening. Loved it, and I was like, okay, this is looking like a 4.5 star book now, like kind of similar to Red Rising. And once you get over the beginning, it's crazy. Kind of dwindled down a bit in the final fifth of the book. Um, and so I was like, okay, 4 star. Even though apparently this is just all set up for the rest of the series. I have Dark Age and I have Lightbringer behind me, and apparently those books are madness. So we'll see. But yeah, Iron Gold, it was good. I feel like it's a bit of a disappointment just because of Pierce Brown's high standards and how much I love this series and how crazy Golden Sun and Morning Star are. It's just absolute nuts. But speaking of each character, I had that quote at the start there, and it really sort of signifies how Darrow's place in this new world is going. He is still a rebel. He's still a maverick. He's still unorthodox, and there's still a war going on. But is he now doing too much? He is reined in now. Essentially, he has hands tied behind his back, kind of, because one, Mustang is sovereign, and two, he's not toppling the main gold sort of caste system that's been set. He is trying to close all loose ends, is really what he's trying to do. And but he has a son, and his son's 10 years old, and he's dealing with that, the fact that he's absent essentially. So he's going through obviously his thoughts. Oh, I always loved Darrow, just the way he is. Um, but in terms of world building for this world, I respect that Pierce Brown, through the multiple POVs, kind of shows the colors mixing, the stereotypes, everything. And for example, you got this quote: "Obsidians, circus freaks, the lot of them. Greys do work. We are adaptable, efficient, and bred for systematic loyalty. Little has changed for most of them. New masters, same collar." And it's crazy how a lot of here's the thing when it comes to, like, breaking chains and revolution. It's crazy how afterwards it's kind of hard to, like, get out of your role, your colors role, your role within, like, your own identity and everything. It's hard to get out of that. And another thing as well with the original trilogy, it was all about toppling the caste system, but it wasn't much talk, as kind of is the case with actual revolutions, about detailed plans as to what happens when you win. And we see the fallout of that in this book, especially with Lyra, who is a red, who is in poverty essentially. They've been all the reds have been sort of liberated from the mines. And in the book, I like that Darrow also is introducing capitalism, because now Quicksilver's mining robots have taken over humans. And we're sort of seeing that sort of industrial revolution take place in this solar system. And what Lyra is just full of rage and resentment towards, the higher ups, towards Darrow. Because even though Darrow has people that worship him, there's people that see him, he's known as obviously the Reaper, the Slave King. But there are people who see their condition now in poverty, and they're like, it's not different to when they were actually slaves. And we see it in quotes like, "The sovereign brought us out of the dirt and forgot us in the mud. The Reaper hasn't even been to Mars in years. Got more to worry about than his own color, it seems." And so there's a lot of just so much resentment about everything. This is, I will say, I've got to give Pierce Brown his props. He really portrays the genuine fallout from a revolution, from a war, from battle, and that's shown in the world building as well. Just the slums, the the decimated places, especially on Luna. Mars isn't safe yet. The solar system isn't safe at all. It's a lot. And so you've got sort of underground criminal organizations sort of, rising up more. We're seeing that. There's just so much going on. And even though this book, especially compared to the other books, it is the weakest in the series, but it isn't a scrub by any means. You can tell that the world building, all the things that are happening, the chess pieces that are moving in place are going to be significant. Lysander's POVs are good. He is on quite an adventure himself. And I like the route that Pierce Brown has taken with his character and his setting, where he is for most of the book, and what happened, and what happens with Cassius as well. And I really do appreciate all of it. And I can't wait to read Dark Age and Lightbringer. And I think Red God is coming out in 2026. Everyone says that Dark Age and Lightbringer is a madness. So yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Yeah, I like this book. It's worth reading on, in my opinion, just because there's more out there. Like, I don't get you just people just stopping at the trilogy when there's now three more books and a seventh one that will come out next year. So yeah, Iron Gold again. Pierce Brown's writing, it's the same high standards. I had pages upon pages of quotes, and it's just really good. Could have been better, and I really thought it would be, but it doesn't mean that it's not worth reading. So definitely pick it up. Definitely continue with the series if you haven't. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.